myself. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thanks to Wipro Marathon, I think somehow we all made up. We could have rather ran to this place instead of taking our vehicle. So I thought I was late. I see so many apologetic faces. Well, I just definitely want. I'm so curious to know about this. May I know who filled up this board?
I am the culprit.
I think we need to give massive class. Please, with all respect, it's after quite a long time I see properly organized, decently written with a beautiful handwriting board independent of classes agenda. Really, sir, it shows your years of experience not only in handling people, also handling board. Then these are some small things that create an image to an outsider. The moment he comes and sees, he's able to understand instead of seeing some junk. And it is only in this context we are going to discuss certain things today. I am not here to give an educational session on how to win international session, speech contest or table topic contest. We are going to discuss about how to approach a contest. Anyway, there are so many education sessions, emergencies. Aditya Maheshwaran, Senthil Kumar is conducting so many training sessions on how to get your content, how to prepare delivery, blah blah, how will the winners prepare, all those things. I believe throughout my experience of participating in contests, conducting contests, and leading or organizing some contests as division area governors, I observed certain things, I learned various things in the name of contests. I'm going to share those experiences. First of all, let us understand why do we have something called as contests? Toastmasters is a, what do you call us, mutually supportive, who is a sergeant house? I forgot that sentence. So it's a mutually supportive, self-helping, blah blah blah, so many platforms. You come here, mutually support, you help each other, you give speeches, get evaluated, that's all, you grow. But still, somewhere, twice in a year, Toastmasters decide to conduct certain contests. I would say this is where you qualify or you get educated or trained more than what you can learn in a business school. A contest, I think it makes you a real better person than going through various theories, various laws and workshops, practices. Because you learn so many things. When you try to, you really honestly want to apply them in your life, in your professional life, your social life. But when you try to apply all that you gain, some unexpected challenge happens, which was not trained in you. In our flat, we used to conduct annual, on the New Year's Eve, we used to conduct some asking all the kids to play drama or songs. Then we used to also hand over the accounts of this year to the next committee. Everything we used to do. We were fully prepared. Everything was ready. Just on 27th or 28th, something happened in the apartment. We had spent money, we had organized everything, but we could not conduct the function. But kids were almost on tears. None of my leadership manuals start how to handle this. Because I'm not talking about the, even getting postponed. The particular thing, something that happened to postpone the event was a unique challenge. Then I remember there are people who always try to obstacle or create certain things. We made some pattern, some idea. Then we overcame it. We postponed the function by one day. Instead of having New Year's Eve, we celebrated New Year's Day. We gave some other new name. We conducted it. But it is because of the challenge that we were able to identify that there are alternate solutions come out. Otherwise, normal meetings happen, we go. So, and everybody had unique or equal amount of talent or helped me in organizing the contest, but still none of us were able to. Somebody came up. He challenged the status quo and he made the change. So I believe contests open up certain adrenaline, I don't know if adrenaline is the right word, that kindles your enthusiasm and things like that, in the moments of challenge and make you ready to overcome and win. So these kinds of challenges happening within your family, within your apartment, within your streets, we install the transformer for our street that I can give 5 speeches about that particular experience alone, and I can win 3 contests at least by giving a speech. So then your official professional environment when you come across challenges. It is just to self-evaluate and check, are we ready for such challenges in an equally competitive environment. In a regular meeting, somebody gives CC1 and somebody gives CC10. So if the CC1 guy doesn't get the winner ribbon, he is also okay. He said, no, I'm just an icebreaker, I didn't get a ribbon. And if his CC10 fellow didn't get a ribbon, he feels bad. I'm CC10 in spite of his place of which I didn't get a ribbon. That's a different story. But in a contest, we are giving an equal opportunity to everyone, where the rules are equal to all, the objectives are equal to all, the judges are equal to all, the audience are equal to all, but you are expected to perform better and more. So this is where we should think of how to approach a contest. Now I will talk about these philosophical aspects one side, and also give tips on how to get ready for the contest on the other. Whichever is interesting to you, you can split the other piece, you can leave it here. You have to first decide if you are contesting or not, and you have to stand up to the decision till all the contests are over, or till you keep winning and going on to the next contest. This is one major area where people fail and later feel. There are only 2 answers. Ask yourself, are you going to contest? Yes or no. Make a final decision. Decide to contest or decide to be an audience. You just give a name after a couple of weeks, you decide no, then after a couple of weeks. So my suggestion is, when to make that decision, when to ask that question into you. Let us not think in terms of going up to World Championship. Okay, all the best. Happy. But let us talk about a particular season, a contest season. My practice and whatever I discuss with us is the moment your previous contest season got over, or where you dropped out in one of the contests at club level, area level, division level, you came out. That's all, your job is over, you tried, you lost, you have nothing else to move further. And that evening you either celebrate or mourn for your failure or victory. The next day morning you decide whether you are contesting for the next event or not. It's immaterial whether it's a humorous speech contest or a ISC contest, table topics evaluation. But I would suggest on that day itself you decide. Because then from that day on, you have a target date. You will approximately know by what time your club contest will happen, February or March. So you have enough time to work backwards, plan, have some activity for every month. And then just 1 month before you are ready with your contest and speech, go and deliver. Most of us start thinking whether to contest or not only the next day when the club announces on February 13th there is a contest, whoever is interested nominate. And includes me a few years back. And I tell you, I am just sharing my experience. Standing here and giving a session on this doesn't mean I am the ultimate. I made all these mistakes, learned from them, then decided. Once I decided that I will not give an international speech contest, I was happy, I went along with it. Once I decided, yes, I will participate, whatever it comes, I participate. So I know there are people who decided this year, no ISC, humorous done, I get ready for next year, something like that. Or I will go for only one. Nothing wrong in participating in all the contests, but for everything you have this plan. First ask yes or no question to yourself, then decide yes. Then comes the very important question that you need to answer, which you alone can answer, you cannot even consult with others. It may take some time, even 1 month to get an answer for this. Why do you, if it's an yes answer, why are you participating in the contest? This question looks very humorous and silly. It is not always to win that you want to participate in the contest. Of course, that's for everyone, that's the contest rule. But just sit over, you will get so many new answers. Why do you think you want to participate in the contest, irrespective of winning or losing? I would say go to any extent and find out various answers, write them down or jot them down in some portion, then review those answers. I am telling you, you will get unbelievable revelation of answers when you jot them down. You may even get some funny answers. If you get some funny answers, you write them down. Just pour whatever your mind suggests about an answer to that question, just write them everything. Then maybe you hold it for 2 days, forget everything, get to your work. Then again come back and open that sheet and start reviewing those answers. Check, no check, check, no check. Remember, this is not about participating in contest or winning the contest. This is about learning certain things in the name of approaching a contest. List down why you want to participate in that contest. For somebody you have, I want to become a world champion in public speaking. Good. And nobody can comment on those answers except you, because they are your own personal answers. Maybe you can reach some of us and say, do you think participate in a contest with this objective is okay or something like that? I can give you an opinion, but I am not deciding on behalf of you. Then get my opinion, put the subclass and say, Guru says this, Sundar says this, others say this. Listen, just go through it. This is a great lesson that not only prepares you for the contest, also makes you help identify your personality. I'm talking big words. Please understand. How are you planning to position yourself in a competitive environment is decided based on those answers. And those answers are going to help you throughout your life, not just in this contest. Because I followed certain parts of this, I was able to make some changes in my personal professional life. To my level, I would call them as transformation, not changes. That doesn't mean I have achieved everything, but still there are some challenges, but I know how to go about this kind of personal list. Make a list and find out what are your objectives. Now this part is over. Now come back to your whatever training sessions you attended. Take the third month. You normally have 6 months gap between contest to contest. Then you start thinking about various titles, various what you call as one-liners, and from the one-liners we are going to develop a speech, not the full script. After that is over, I would suggest you have at least 2 or 3 speeches at the high level, abstract level ready before you come to the speech. But that again, since we always plan 15 days before the contest day, that also doesn't happen. Because my first ever humorous speech contest in Medley was a grand success, because throughout the 7 minutes, everybody was laughing at my every joke, and my name was never announced after my speech. Throughout the contest, only time my name was announced was when they called me to the dais. They did not even announce me as a disqualified speaker. I was not even considered in 5, 6, 7 or any of those lists. I lost that contest. Horribly. But I was so glad that throughout those 7 minutes people were laughing. And then I discussed with Sundar, my mentor, and asked him what happened. Everybody was laughing. And he said, yes, you tell very good jokes. We really like those jokes, we laughed. But liking a joke and laughing at those jokes doesn't mean that you gave a fantastic humorous speech. My speech was a collection of jokes. He says, I would have laughed for the same jokes if I had read them in Reader's Digest or some other book. You did not understand the context of your giving a humorous speech and delivering jokes. And he said, you never had any objective on why you are giving this humorous speech. That is when I started doing this. Why am I contesting? Select objectives. Prepare a script. Connect if they are matching with your objective. Whether you will be in my company we have a policy called as is and to be states. I mean, I think it's a management jargon. When you approach a problem, you first analyze what is as is. Then also decide what is to be. Then traveling from as is to be is what you deliver as a service, you get money or pay paid for. So this kind of analysis you do and see how do I change myself to reach this objective if I participate in the contest, and what should I include. Then develop your scripts, consult your mentor, and even from the abstract stage, you start delivering speeches every day. Gentlemen, this time I failed at Sri Lanka. One of the major reasons is I could not prepare well or practice well in the last 10 days, in various reasons. The reason I won in my first humorous speech contest, at least every day, 2 times I was giving my speech. Even if nobody is there, I used to stand before a mirror and deliver it. And on certain days, I used to deliver it 6, 7, 8 times. Come to my house, my son can deliver that speech well back from beginning to end. So that is complete. In that process also you will identify that where are you staggering, because delivery of the speech also represents your personality. You are not acting when delivering a speech. The same MCC speech, if I give the script to Toastmaster Thomas, he would also deliver completely in a different style. The script would be same, because the way of delivery also represents your personality. Whatever way you try to alter, that can never be altered. So be clear that this is my objective, this is how I want to present myself to the audience, and whatever speech comes.
Yeah, regarding practice, some people say that over practice sometimes you lose that, it becomes cliche, and then you yourself lose interest because over practice, you don't find it very exciting. So what is your take on it?
Yes, you asked me, and based on what my mentor taught me, you should lose all emotions about your speech before the day of contest. He said, on a contest you never leave your speech. In your regular Toastmaster meeting sessions, at heart you deliver a speech. In a contest you deliver it like a robot. Because by continually practicing and testing with others, you know how you have certain expectations of how the audience might react to your speech. So deliver it in such a way to receive the same reaction and impregnate that reaction into the minds of the judges. On the day of contest, you are delivering the speech not for the audience, only for the judges.
So practice is
So that is politics. I mean, that is strategy.
So practice is
Yes, practice is a must. But up to certain stage that you get bored out of your speech, you practice. Then on you start asking reviews. Because if you start delivering your speech to your friends or advisors at your practicing stage, every day they will give you so many the errors and judgments. Because you yourself are not fully conversant and comfortable on your speech. So that's what this is between those 2 or 3 months before the contest. Even if you have 1 paragraph, you practice it. If you have only 2 paragraphs in a speech, you practice it. By the time your full speech is ready, you would have been comfortable with all those practices, you can deliver them. Only after that, you start consulting. Consulting on the script, I am not talking about. I am not going to talk about script at all, because I develop my script only in consulting with so many others. So I don't have any advice to give you on how to prepare the best script. But here is how to deliver the best speech up to your level. It's first practice to deliver. Then you start consulting with your friends. Don't make the friends shall only compliment to your practice, not start giving you fresh ideas. This is the plan. They should analyze your speech at this level and start building it up. They should not be helping from ground level. For that, it's your speech. You prepare from scratch. Start practicing, and deliver to whoever you think are appropriate. Then they can give you a good suggestion. Same applies. Sorry.
Did you give the same speech or a different speech?
Same speech. Because that was one of my personality identities. I was risk averse. I didn't want to take risk. But there are people, of course, I don't know how many of you know about this organization. Karthik Srinivasan, he participated in the contest. He had prepared a speech. He was the last speaker, 6th speaker. 5 people gave a context. The context of those 5 speeches were almost same as what he was going to deliver. They were almost talking about the same thing. He thought, if I am also going to repeat the same thing, where do I stand? On that moment, he got up to the stage, talked completely reverse about what he was about to speak earlier, won the prize. And that was Karthik Srinivasan. So that he was ready for the risk. I was not ready. Yes.
But robot is a very candid expression. No one else ever said this. I was the same person. Which would mean that it's more of play acting and not talking from the heart, is it?
Yes, on a contest.
That's all. Okay. Thank you. That's all.
On a contest, you just observe, not even world champions. You can observe some of the district level, division level speeches. You can get to see a video. With this motive, you observe the speech, you will find out that how robotic they were. You see that even the number of steps are calculated. Jim Key travels from here and exactly stops here and says, there's a glass wall, and he exactly traveled the same distance in Chennai 1 year. I observed. He could never change. Even if you ask him, give him this hall, he will do that exact step because that is programmed into him. That is why he is able to deliver the speech wherever you ask him to deliver the speech. even this moment you ask me to deliver the NCC speech, I am ready. Because it's programmed into it. I am not going to deliver from my heart. I am going to deliver it from that program. Of course, adding nuances on the spot, some improvisations are the creative part of you because you feel somewhere down, you just want to make it up. That is different. But the core, basic speech, you should be like a robot.
So without the audience knowing that you are robotic.
Yes, yes. No. Unless, since you have all listened, next time onwards you start observing how many of them are robots. No, I tell you, go and watch those World Championship speeches. Dhananjay Irachi. The moment he started plucking that flower, I was sure that there's a good flower inside and he's going to show it up in the end. We were able to guess. That is why he's making that show. Of course, this we never expected. And every time he says, he had this, he used to bend like this and say, put them all together to get my mom. Next time he goes, put them, then he will bend the same way, put them all together. They are typical examples of robotics. He never even decided anything on the spot. No. You have decided whether you are contesting or not. If yes, you have listened to the remaining part of the speech. Otherwise, you are just enjoying the day. Now that you have decided yes, you have identified why, what is that that is motivating you to participate in the contest, and what do you want to be or what do you want to gain by participating in the contest apart from the winning prize. Then you identified your script using various methods and developed the script. In that process, you try to connect with all those objectives. Now you have delivered it across people, got feedback. Remember that feedback is not only about your speech, this is very important. They are also giving a feedback about the kind of personality you are trying to present and their feeling about observing you as that personality.